Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome to the first trading day of 2023. If today's any indication of what's to come, it's going to be a repeat of 2022, but let's hope not. But let's see what the charts tell us. If I go to our model, there really hasn't been any change now in the last couple of weeks. It is solid red, everything, all moving averages down, price down. Just nothing to do, like I've been saying for weeks, if not months now. Yeah, cash is the best place to be. So congratulations to those of you that went to cash in April. Last year, you've just saved a whole swack of pain. Looking at the S&P 500, every time we get up to this 200-day moving average, it gets slammed back. The same thing happened a couple of weeks ago. But what is really concerning me now is if you go back to this day, what day was that? December the 13th, where we gapped up and then slammed back down during the day. So since then, we've had 5 down days that took the market down about 8%. And then since then, over the next 10 days, we've gone nowhere. And so we haven't recovered any of this whatsoever. So this is a big cause for concern, especially in this time of year when we're supposedly getting the Santa Claus rally. And the first 2 days of January are traditionally good ones. Not so much. So this doesn't bode well. If I switch out to a longer time frame on the weekly chart, you can just see this trend is down. I think I've drawn this thing before, just following the trend line straight south. So we need something dramatic to turn this around, and it's just not in sight. So there's nothing to do except stay in cash. If I zoom back out a little bit further and even go back on a monthly chart, going back the last 20 plus years, you can see we've done this before. This is the period of 2000 when we had about a 50% decline in the S&P. Then again in 2008, the financial crisis, the decline was over 50%. I've got my math tool out here, but that was a big decline. And then we recovered from that. It's been straight up ever since. So for the last 10, 12 years, it's been all peaches and cream. And most of, especially younger investors, have known nothing but good times by and large since then. But since last year, the tide has turned somewhat. I think I've said this before. If you were fully invested in 2000, it took you till 2000 and when is this? I'm writing my screen here. 2007 to get back to break even, but that lasted like a month, and so really you didn't get back to break even until something like 2016. So it took 16 years for you to get back to even. Now, I'm not saying from the peak of last November of 2021, not last November, 2 years, a year and a half ago. It's going to take us 16 years to get back to that level, but who knows? We just have to be prepared. We flip to the QQQ. It's a similar story. I'll stay with the monthly. The decline in the dot-com bubble was even more dramatic. The NASDAQ dropped from 5,100 down to 1,100. So again, I don't have a math tool, but that looks to me like about an 80% loss. And then again, it took from there till 2017. So it took 17 years to get back to even again. And then it's been a good climb up since the summer of last year. So looking at, again, the chart of the NASDAQ looks very similar to the S&P. It's straight in a downtrend, although it's a lot weaker. So this one looks like it's poised to go a lot further south. So not pretty. Just be safe. Stay in cash. or if you're going to have any positions, make them small and take profits quickly. Just quickly go back over here. I'll just quickly review. Oh, I wanted to look at, there's a fund, innovation fund run by a lady named Kathy Woods. Go back to a weekly chart. She was the darling in 2020, and you see her stock. It's basically an ETF or a fund, and went straight up as she was investing in all these high-tech companies. And then since the peak at $160 a share, she's now down to $30. So that's a pretty massive decline. And every night I get, they send an email of their change in their holdings. And today, for example, they've been buying Tesla. They bought a bunch of Tesla today. Let's bring up a chart of Tesla. Isn't that a pretty picture? And she's been buying it all the way down. And then she also sold today another one called FATE. And again, finally pulled the plug on this one at, I think, around $9. And obviously had bought a whole bunch of it at 80 and probably bought a bunch more at 40, and finally threw in the towel today at about $9. So, and then one she bought today, or sold, was Caterpillar. Now, what the hell is she doing with Caterpillar? This is supposed to be a high growth innovation fund. Caterpillar doesn't seem to meet that criteria to me. But if you look at that chart, I'd be buying it. This has been on my buy list for the last 2-3 weeks. But I haven't pulled the trigger on it because it's just the growth in it is just not that big. A massive move for the stock would be 20%. And so I'm looking for things that are going to go up that much a little bit faster. But that is a good looking chart. So she has a propensity to sell these really good stocks and plow them back into bottom fishing. And again, it shows up in her results. Down, I don't know, you do the math, from 160 down to 30. That's about an 80 or 90% decline. So not a strategy I would endorse. My strategy, on the other hand, let's just look at CPRX. This is a medical biotech company, about a $2 billion market cap, so not insignificant. They don't have a lot of sales and a lot of earnings. Actually, I'm covering them up down here, so move this out of the way. But their sales are growing by 50% every quarter for the last 4 quarters, and the earnings have been going 30%, 64% up, 75% up, 86% up. So rapidly increasing in earnings, which justifies their stock price. So that's one that I'm in. Another is another high medical biotech company. Another really good chart, especially look at a weekly. You had a big move up here. Must have been on, it was on some announcement. Pulled back a little bit. Now it's come back up and is right near the all-time highs. It's about 4% off its all-time high. Again, I'm not as excited by this one because although it's growing very rapidly, the sales, they're not making any money. And so these biotech companies that don't make money make me a little nervous. I'm never going to take a very big position in case you get a big negative surprise, but it's a really good looking chart. And then HWM is an aerospace steel specialty company, specialty alloys for the aerospace industry. And again, you can see from this one, it's been basing at the highs here for a year and a half, and now is starting to, looks like it wants to blast out of this base. So I've been picking up a couple of positions here. Zoom down to a smaller chart. Bought some in here. This is an hourly chart, and then added to the position when it broke out here, and looking for a nice move on this one. And then the last one is URI. Commercial services leasing. They provide equipment rentals, primarily the oil and gas industry. So again, the basing right near the highs. Great looking chart, looking for this to blast out from the 350 area with a move up towards 400 is what my expectation is. Again, this looks better on a weekly chart. So you can see it's right near the highs. Relative strength rating of 94. Earnings or sales rather 19%, 20%, 20%, 20%. So they're growing at 20% every quarter for what, 6 consecutive quarters. Earnings are now up 60%, 69%, 41%. So great fundamentals. So that's the kind of chart patterns that I look for, and not the bottom fishing ones that ARK funds seems to be chasing. So that's it for today. Try and be a little more diligent on the videos. It's been the first one in about 10 days, but there really hasn't been much to talk about. The market's been pretty crappy, but I'll try and provide some more education along the way. Cheers, everyone.